So a week now after the election that shocked the world, and our financial analyst Steve Budin is here to try and help us make sense of it all. You were here with us the day after Election Day. You said, don't panic, relax, things will calm down. They did. So now the question is, Trump won, so now what?
That is the great question.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to ask me that question? Well, Trump gave an interview last night, and he talked about some of his main priorities. And I think, especially after he admitted in the debates that he paid no federal income tax, I think one of the top items on his agenda would be tax reform. You have bipartisan support on many issues regarding tax reform. I think you'll see them work on that. And then his other promise was amending or even repealing Obamacare. I don't know how realistic repealing the whole thing is, but we'll see what happens. But I think those are the two economic issues that he's going to hit first.
And also then he mentioned, of course, looking back at it now and how he's able to carry some of those blue states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, was his idea of trade reform. We're going to expect to hear more about that.
Yeah, trade's a little more dicey. Both Democrats and Republicans have things they like and they dislike about the trade deals. But one thing that the trade deals will show, especially with tax reform, is these require legislation. You have to change the law. You can't just snap your fingers and have everything changed, as opposed to the regulatory environment, which he can on his first day in office. With the stroke of a pen, change a lot of the regulations, whether it's environmental or food and drug. So the priorities will definitely be skewed towards the regulatory side, with the legislative side kind of on the side going a little slower.
Yeah, his promise to replace Obamacare, that's going to take some doing. That's going to take some politicking.
That won't happen on the first day.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on now. We talked about this too, about the 10-year bond right now. Talk about that, where we sit here.
Yeah, if there was one thing that surprised me about the results of the election economically, was the run-up in interest rates. And I think the world is concerned that Trump getting in with a Republican House and Senate, there'll be very few checks and balances on the spending. And if there's a lot of spending, they'll issue a lot of debt. If there's a lot of debt, the supply of bonds goes up, the prices will go down, meaning interest rates will go up, and anybody looking for a mortgage this week has been in for a rude awakening. 0.4% rates have ticked up in just 5 days. So if the interest rates stay up, which they might, again, 5 days is tough to make a judgment, but the interest rate hike really got me.
Yeah, it's a tough question to ask you, but what do you think is going to happen?
I think the stock market hit a record high this week.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think a lot of it is because the guessing is that the Trump administration will be a lot less regulatory. They'll be trying to scale back some of the regulations in the financial services industry, in the energy industry, in the pharmaceutical industry, and less regulation generally does well for corporations because they don't have to pay as much to comply with the regulations, which is why I think you saw the markets go up. Bank stocks have shot up because there could be less financial regulation, and I think that's why the interest rates have gone up as well. But again, it's tough to make a judgment based on 5 days. Yeah. So this could just be a short-term reaction. Could go back next week. Who knows?
We will see. It'll be
interesting.
That's for sure.
That's for sure. Yes,
right.
it will.
Steve Budin, as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. All right, we'll be right back, everyone.